get in trouble, I beg my teachers, you do whatever you want to be in school. Just don't tell my parents. Because when I got home, I knew I was going to get spanked. When my dad got home, I'd get spanked again. My dad had a funny sense of justice. I'd say, Dad, I didn't do what the teacher said. He'd say, son, I know you better than that. I know you got away with something today in school, so I'm going to spank you for that. We'll call it even. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter whether you did what the teacher said or not. It's not like that today. In our classrooms, teachers will tell you they're afraid the parents will come yell at them. They're afraid the parents will come make excuses for their children if they try to maintain discipline and order in these classrooms. My dad has changed as well, by the way. He's become a grandparent. There's some gene that gets turned off when a parent becomes a grandparent. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. The stricter they were with us, the more lenient they are with their grandchildren. I try to put my kids in timeout at his house. He comes and unlocks the door. He tells me it's cruel to leave them in there by themselves. I remind him he used to spank us. There was no timeout when I was growing up. My dad, a grown man, will look at me and say, son, what are you talking about? We never spanked you, not once. He's forgotten our entire childhood. So we passed a teacher's Bill of Rights that says to our teachers, we're going to back you, we're going to reinforce your authority to maintain discipline and order in those classrooms. Let me say this to parents, not only in New York, but across our country. We're not doing our children any favors by making excuses for them and by yelling at their teachers. We need to support those teachers that are trying to teach our kids. Going back to educational reform, yesterday I signed the 3 most important bills I have signed since I've been elected governor over 4 years ago. I signed thousands of bills. This year our legislature's debated 2,000 bills in their regular session. So I signed thousands of bills. I signed the 3 most important bills I've signed in my 4+ years as governor. And I'm not going to bore you with all the details. I'm going to tell you there were 2 basic things we did. These were historic reforms to our K-12 education system. I want to tell you about just 2 of them because I think they're that important for my state and for where we need to go as a party and as a country. The first is this. The most important thing you can do to improve education for our children is to make sure you've got a great teacher in every classroom. Now, if you surveyed that, 99 or 100% of people say, of course, we want great teachers in our class. Everybody says they're for that. The research is overwhelming about why this is important. There's a study out of Stanford University, Dr. Hanushek, that shows that if your child has a great teacher, his or her earning potential will increase by thousands of dollars over their careers just by having great school teachers. And the opposite is also true. If they don't have effective teachers, they're going to earn less on average by thousands of dollars. He attributes the fact that we're not keeping up with our international competition. He equates that to a permanent recession in our country, costing our economy billions and billions of dollars. There was a study recently out of Harvard and Columbia looking at effective teachers. Think about this. I've got a fifth grader, so think about this. They did a study showing that if your child has an effective 4th grade teacher, the 4th grade, they are more likely to go to college later in life. They are less likely to become pregnant as a teenager. Bottom line is you can't overstate the importance of having an effective teacher in the classroom. It impacts our children's outcomes not only in the job marketplace, but also in the classroom and afterwards as well. Now the reality is everybody says they're for good teachers. But look at our policies. In most states, the way we pay our teachers, the way that we retain, the way that we hire our teachers, we basically pay them based on how long they've been breathing, not how well they're doing inside the classroom. In Louisiana, we give tenure after 3 years. A third of our kids are below grade level, yet 99% of our teachers are rated effective and get tenure, and basically become impossible to fire. Now think about that from a business perspective. Let's say you were running a small business. What if I went to your business and told you you're not allowed to fire ineffective employees? What if I went to your business and said, you're not allowed to pay, you've got one employee that shows up early, stays late, and is more effective, you're not allowed to pay that employee more than the employee next door, who simply does the bare minimum, punches in, punches out, doesn't do anything else in between. You probably got a business pretty quick. Yet that's what we're doing today. Every one of us is here today because a great teacher took an interest in us and took the time to motivate us, to push us harder, and believe in us. Our children deserve those great teachers in their classrooms. So we made 2 fundamental changes in the bills that I signed yesterday. Number 1 is this. We changed our tenure policies. So now to earn tenure in the state of Louisiana, you've got to be ranked in the top 10% for 5 years out of 6 in a row. Teacher unions came to me and said, Governor, we're all for evaluating teachers, just don't tie it so closely to student effectiveness and student achievement. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. We're okay with evaluating teachers, just don't tie it to how well your students are doing. I mean, that would be like going to a football game and saying, enjoy the game, just don't bother about the score. It really doesn't matter. The one thing that is the most important thing when it comes to education is student achievement. Now, the second thing we've done is change our compensation policies. And by the way, if you're rated an ineffective teacher after 1 year, you lose your tenure. If you're rated an ineffective teacher for 3 years, you lose your certificate to teach in the state of Louisiana. My message to great teachers is we're going to pay you more. My message to teachers that want to get better is we're going to help you get better with real-time data and professional development. My message to teachers that are ineffective and don't want to get better is we're going to get you out of the classroom. It's time to find a different profession. Now, the second thing, we've entered the use of seniority as a basis for how we pay, hire, and fire our teachers. Maybe the only profession in the world where we simply say how long you've been there to determine how we pay you, how we hire you, and how we fire you. Bottom line is we've got to have a great teacher in every classroom. The second thing, this second bill that we signed, is dedicated to making sure that every child has the opportunity to get a great education. Why is this one? If you put that on a bumper sticker, everybody says they believe that. Every child deserves a chance to get a great education. No child should be trapped in a family school. Yet our policies don't do that today. So we signed a bill creating more choice in Louisiana than has been done in any other state in the country, basically saying the dollars we spend on education will follow our children to wherever their parents want them to go to school. Whether it's a private school, a parochial school, online school, a charter school, or traditional public school. In the city of New Orleans, post-Katrina, 80% of our kids go to charter schools. Since 2007, in the last 5 years, we have doubled the number of our students that are at grade level in reading and math in 5 years. Now, we've got still more work to do, but my point is this. As a party, we have to stand for educational excellence. Taking on the teacher unions and saying we're dedicated to putting a great teacher in every classroom, and we're dedicated to giving parents real, meaningful choice. In response to the choice, the teacher unions in Louisiana stood up and said this. They said parents don't have a clue when it comes to making choices for their children. Think about that. Parents don't have a clue when it comes to making choices for their children. You couldn't find a better example of the difference between our party and theirs. That represents the elitist, top-down, arrogant mentality that has plagued public education for too many years. That's what it really means to be a party that stands up for freedom and choice and individual rights. To say we don't want the government. I met with a group of moms who told me, we know our children better. We make choices every day. We know our children better than the bureaucrats in Baton Rouge and Albany and Washington, D.C. Trust us to make the best decisions for our children, not the bureaucrats working for the government. Now, I could talk to you a lot more about education reform. I want to move on very quickly. We're also embracing pension reform, moving our new state employees to a defined contribution system, reducing our UAL debt of $19 billion in the state of Louisiana. In the 1980s, the taxpayers paid for 60%, the workers paid for 40% of retirement systems. Today, that ratio is 70% on the taxpayers, 30% on the state employees. That is simply not sustainable. For too many years, our state leaders, our national leaders have kicked this can down the road. Now is the time to embrace the tough reform, Medicare, Social Security, and our state retirement programs so they're sustainable, so not burdening our children. I'm going to close with a final story. I've talked about the president and why we need to make sure he is a one-term president. And there are so many things I could have talked about tonight. I could have talked about the $15 trillion of debt that has been accumulated. Could have talked about an energy policy that makes us more dependent on other countries. Could have talked about his regulatory policies that are driving jobs overseas. But I've talked instead tonight about how as a party, and all of those things are true. I've talked tonight about a positive reform agenda that we as a party can embrace to show that we truly believe in the American dream. And instead of engaging in class warfare and the politics of envy, we can show that our best days as a country are ahead of us, not behind us.